is a real thing. Those are his words. I know it's hard to hear. I know you want to, make sure and hope it's all bluster and all talk.
Just wanted to bring
this threat is real, and this threat will be real for the next 4 years.
Steel and aluminum
Canada and
tariffs.
Ontario, we're in a battle for the future of our economy, for the future of our province and our country. When it's required, we need to stand tall and stand proud. We need to speak loudly to make it clear Canada is not for sale. But when it makes sense for us in the U.S., we need to engage and align on shared priorities. I haven't been shy to disagree with President Trump when he's threatened Canada, when he's threatened Ontario jobs. I've pushed back, and I'll continue to do so with everything I've got. At the same time, we have to act when it's the right thing to do in protecting our border. Making our communities more safe, that's the definition of the right thing to do. This past weekend, I was in Niagara, talking about the progress we've made to protect our border and urging the Trudeau government to do more. We need the federal government to pass strict and severe mandatory minimum sentences for any thug convicted of trafficking fentanyl or other dangerous drugs. The province and the federal government need to work together to get to the root cause.
Nuts, guys.
Auditing banks, credit unions, and any financial institution that may be financing gangs or cartels. And we need the Trudeau government to get on with naming
obviously going after the fentanyl and stuff is great, but
it's been a whole week.
Tariffs and stuff are bullshit.
We operate at. Prime Minister Trudeau, I'm urging you, name the fentanyl czar today. Name them now. As we stare down the threat of tariffs and growing economic risks from south of the border, risks that will last through the next 4 years. I want to reiterate what I've said before. What I've said from the very beginning, Canada and the United States are the strongest when we work together. For decades, we've been in each other's largest trading partners, creating jobs, growing businesses, and putting bigger paychecks into workers' pockets. On both sides of the border, that's what we need to make sure we stay focused on every single day. Working together, we can make Canada and the U.S. the richest, most successful, safest, most secure two countries on the planet. We have to stay united. And we have to stay focused on the real threat to our shared economic success, China. China is playing by its own rules. It's flooding markets, hijacking supply chains, undercutting our workers, and threatening our industries. I'll tell you right now, Ontario isn't going to sit back and let it happen. We will always stand up for our workers. We will do whatever it takes to protect Ontario, their families, the workers, the businesses, and communities. If Canada and the U.S. want to win, if we want to protect our workers and their paychecks, we need to fight together, not each other. I call it Fortress Amcan, a renewed strategic alliance between Canada and the United States that is a beacon of stability, security, long-term economic growth. The cornerstone of Fortress Amcan is an integrated energy and electricity grid that powers economic growth on both sides of the border. As Canada and the United States take on China, and as Ontario builds out and significantly expands our electricity system with billions of dollars in investments in generation, transmission, and storage, including the first small modular reactor in the G7. We're leading the world when it comes to nuclear energy, and it's because of the people here at BWXT. We need to keep our grid safe. We need to keep it secure. A re-elected PC government will ban Chinese parts from all future energy procurement. We will ban Chinese state-owned enterprises from buying or taking equity in any Ontario government-funded energy and critical mineral projects, or
goofy.
Major infrastructure assets. By building out our grid, by securing our grid, Ontario is uniquely positioned to power economic growth and feel
Canada
job
is
creation on both
acting.
sides
This
of
is
the
only one
border.
province.
Ontario is leading the charge.
What are the others going
More
to do?
exports, more investment, more growth. That's what we need to do as PCs. We get things done. The only way we can achieve any of this is if the US and Canada work together. If we stay focused on the real threats that undermine our shared economic success, that undermine our workers. That's why tomorrow I'm heading to Washington to take my message directly to US lawmakers and American business leaders. I'm going to tell them exactly what I'm telling you. Ontario is taking action to secure our border and delivering results. Ontario is ready to power economic growth on both sides of the border with a safe and secure grid. And I'm going to tell them we're ready to do whatever it takes to protect Ontario.
I don't know that that's going to be good for his election,
May God bless the people of Ontario.
going to
Thank you so
Washington,
much.
but there you have it.
We will now take questions from the media. Media present can line up behind me and ask their questions through the microphone. As a friendly reminder, the format is one question and one follow-up. Please state your name and your outlet before your question. First question.
All right. We're going to move on here and see what else we can hunt down.
Canada is not backing down after the Trump.
Let's see what the Midas Touch has to say.
Canada is not backing down after the Trump-led American betrayal of Canada as an ally. By the way, Donald Trump continues to attack Canada, notwithstanding the fact that Donald Trump backed down for now on his tariff threat against Canada. Look, Canadians right now, they're still boycotting American products. They're buying Canada right now. In addition, there's a Canadian travel boycott which developed organically, which could cost the United States at least $2.1 billion in tourism dollars, according to the U.S. Travel Association, and it may in fact be more than that. I don't even think the U.S. Travel Association understands the scope of the Canada boycott. They're not coming to the United States of America unless they're forced to. One, they want to boycott the United States. Two, they just don't think the United States is safe right now with Donald Trump gutting the FAA and any semblance of regulations and a here, Steve
Not about
McKinnon,
said it
here,
all.
play this clip.
Canada's free. Canada is sovereign. Canada will choose its own destiny. Thank you very much.
There you
But
go.
Canada is forever. So Canada will make its choices. Canada, as we all know, we have regions, we have political differences, we have debates, we have lively question and answer sessions. But Canada is united on one thing, its pride in being Canadian. And we will always, always, always stand up for this country, for its people, and
we will always defend our sovereignty. And I think if one thing that they've seen in Washington is that they know that we can stand up for Canada, and no one should put in question the sovereignty of Canada.
Do you think he wants to annex Canada point blank?
Listen, my job is to remind them that no one can break the will of Canadian and the pride of Canadians and the sovereignty of Canada. This is not going to happen. And the way we can convey that message in Washington is by being strong, by being resilient, and by doing the things that we've just talked about.
And one of the things...
These guys have been doing a pretty good job at breaking this all down throughout the whole time. Some really crazy stuff here. Anyway, just thought I would bring you some of the silliness that is the world today in a live here. What is the market saying about all this stuff? Because I haven't looked since early this morning, and it didn't look too good from my point of view. And to be honest, let me get this up on the screen right now and give you a show. So, Trump to impose 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum for everybody. The tariffs on Monday targeting imported steel and aluminum. I don't know that there are any winners, to be honest with you. So these guys are leaning that the United States would probably be the big winner. But last time they did the aluminum and the steel, the price of everything went up because, aluminum, they couldn't make the tin cans, they couldn't provide enough. The steel production is declining in the U.S. and China in 2024. Well, and you would think they'd want things to continue to decline in China, but if they want it to get better, well, I guess they're getting that. Yeah, Canada and Mexico are the biggest exporters of steel and aluminum. That's because the types of steel and aluminum that they use for production for buildings and cans and stuff like that is mostly available from Canada, to be honest with you. They know that, and that's why the car industry, part of it is in Canada and part of it is in Mexico. And they assemble cars because the steel that they use to make cars comes from those countries. It only makes sense to have the parts made there and the cars assembled in the U.S. because they can get what they need faster from the countries where the materials come from, rather than waiting for delivery and paying to have it all exported and produced in America. So, I don't know that I agree that the U.S. would, their steel industry eventually, and would eventually benefit from it, but the amount of time it would take to produce the cans is enough to get cans and packaging and cars and stuff like that. In the end, they would not be worth their money. So let's take a look here. So far, the Dow and the NASDAQ are doing pretty well today. So, I don't know. That will change, I'm sure, if those tariffs hit, because that's going to hurt big time. Doing away with pennies, as good as that sounds, it's not really going to save a whole lot in the country's budget, and that'll just be more jobs lost because they won't have to dig up as much copper, for one thing. They'll be doing away with help in the mints because they won't have to have pennies made. So, not sure that's good news either. In the immediate future. McDonald's is seeing disappointing sales. That's going to have an effect. Nvidia is losing big time. Their GPUs and their chips and stuff, prices are dropping out the bottom. All the new processors that they're making, where the GPU and everything is built into the processor, taking over the industry, and Microsoft not allowing the older PCs to upgrade to Windows 11, flushing all the older PCs out of the system is going to leave mostly the newer processors that really don't need GPUs and stuff for the gaming or any of that stuff. Why would you put your money into that when you can do the same thing with a PC that you can hold in the palm of your hand? Just, it wouldn't make sense to spend $8,000 on a new big shiny desktop with blinking lights that no one will ever see if you can do it with something you can put in your pocket. Heck, as it is now, cell phones are to the point where you can put a wireless mouse and keyboard to them and use them as your desktop. You don't even have to bypass Windows. You put the Windows apps on your phone and you run Windows 11 through your cell phone. You need a newer, more modern one to be fast enough to do that, but you can. You can do all your video processing, all your live streams and everything right from your cell phone. They even make the adapter so you can plug it into your you can plug it into your monitor, you can have the keyboard and the mouse, and you can use a 1, 2, 10, 15, 20 terabyte hard drive as well. You don't need anything more than a cell phone to do that. Probably the S23s that are going to be upgraded pretty soon. If you don't have anything to do with your old one, you just get the adapter for your old phone and use your S23 for your PC. There's nothing you can't do with that phone that you can't do with your big PC that you can't do with the phone. That's what I'm trying to say. Nothing. You just turn it sideways and use it like your PC and put it on your 23-inch monitor. You can even get the HDMI for the monitor. Don't need them no more. And so that's falling out the bottom. They're all trying to make DeepSeek look less threatening than it is, but look, there's people out there running that right now with computers that they're paying $150 for that would only run Windows 10 or even Windows XP, and they've got DeepSeek running as good, if not better, than ChatGPT, just using their open source programming. All kinds of stories we're starting to see about it online. Anyway, thought I would bring you this interesting news and give you some view of what's happening in the world this morning. We'll catch you later. Bye-bye.